Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest creation stories of our time. We're going to break down the story of Facebook, but not from interviews or articles, no. We're going straight to the source code of the drama itself, Aaron Sorkin's screenplay. Right off the bat, we're not starting in a dorm room. We're starting here, years later, in a cold, quiet deposition room. The fight's already happened, the damage is done, and this one line tells you everything you need to know. A friendship, once worth everything, now has a price tag, $600 million. It's completely shattered. So yeah, how in the world does a platform designed to connect people end up destroying the very friendship that built it? Well, the crazy part is, it all starts not with a grand vision for a global network, but with a really simple, really personal moment of social rejection. Okay, let's rewind. We're going back to Harvard, the fall of 2003, and this story doesn't kick off in some high-tech computer lab. Nope. It starts in a loud campus bar where a relationship is about to go down in flames. Wow. That is just brutal. That's his girlfriend, Erica Albright, hitting him with that line right before she walks out. For Mark Zuckerberg, this is way more than a breakup. It's like a direct shot at his whole identity. And that lights a fuse. He storms back to his dorm to pour all that anger into the one place he's king, his computer. What happens next is just a blur of pure, chaotic energy. It all goes down in one night. It starts at 8:13 with a nasty blog post. By 1 in the morning, he's hacking into Harvard servers. A little after 2, he's got his best friend, Eduardo Saverin, giving him a mathematical formula. And by 4 a.m., he's unleashed a website so popular, it literally crashes the entire university's network. 22,000. Think about that. In 2 hours on a campus network. The site, FaceMash, is an instant viral sensation. Sure, it gets him academic probation and makes him public enemy #1 with a lot of people, but it also makes him a campus legend. He proved he could grab everyone's attention, and people noticed. And that notoriety gets him a meeting with Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, the Olympic rowing twins. They want to hire him to build their idea, the Harvard Connection. But Mark's thinking on a whole different level. The Winklevosses see an exclusive club with a velvet rope. Mark sees the whole party. Their idea is small and elite. His is about putting the entire social universe online. So while he's basically stalling the Winklevoss twins with a bunch of emails, Mark is secretly building his own thing, the bigger, better idea. But, websites need servers, and servers cost money. So he goes to the only person he really trusts, his best friend, Eduardo. And this is the deal that started it all. For $1,000, Eduardo gets to be co-founder and CFO with 30% of the company. In return, Mark gets the cash to get this thing off the ground. You gotta remember, this was more than just business. It was two best friends making a pact to build something together. And man, does it take off. The Facebook, as it was called back then, just explodes. It's not just some website people check. It becomes a core part of campus life. It jumps from Harvard to Yale to Columbia to Stanford. It gets so big so fast that its name literally becomes a verb. People were saying, Facebook me. So this crazy growth leads them to New York to try and find some advertisers. And there they meet Sean Parker. Yeah, the guy who co-founded Napster. This guy gets it. He sees the massive potential in a way that Eduardo, the business guy, just doesn't. And his first piece of advice is this legendary line. A small tweak, but it signaled a huge leap in ambition. Parker doesn't just give them branding advice. He gives them a whole new philosophy. He tells Mark, forget advertisers. Don't try to make money yet. Just build the coolest thing you can, grow it as big as possible, and aim for $1 billion company. He sells him the Silicon Valley dream. Move to California, change the world. And Mark, he is completely hooked. So Mark goes all in. He and the early team move into a house in Palo Alto for the summer, just coding 24/7. But Eduardo, he stays in New York for a fancy internship, trying to land the very ad deals that Sean Parker just told Mark were a bad idea. You can already see the problem, right? The distance isn't just geographical, it's philosophical. And that rift just gets wider and wider. Mark is living and breathing Parker's growth over profit mantra. Eduardo, on the other side of the country, is freaking out about how much money they're burning. So feeling ignored, he makes a huge, desperate move. He freezes the company's bank account to try and force Mark's hand. And it backfires big time. Right when it looks like they're about to go broke, Sean Parker comes through, securing $500,000 from Peter Thiel. Now, with Thiel's money in the bank, the game has completely changed. Mark has all the power. He calls Eduardo and tells him to fly out to California to sign some papers for the new company. He frames it like it's great news. We got the funding. I need my CFO here. It was a trap, plain and simple, disguised as a victory lap. And here is the cold, hard math of that betrayal. Look at these numbers. By setting up a new corporation and issuing tons of new shares to himself, the new investors, and the other founders, but not to Eduardo, his stake gets diluted into almost nothing. His 30% ownership just vanishes, shrinking all the way down to a measly 0.03%. It's a boardroom execution, and he was tricked into signing his own death warrant. The scene where Eduardo finds out in the new Facebook office is just brutal. He finally gets it. He's been completely cut out. Mark's defense is ice cold. You signed the papers. It was a bad deal. And then Sean Parker twists the knife, telling him he's just not part of Facebook anymore. And just like that, the friendship that started the whole thing is officially dead. The company is funded, the future is secure, but the price was enormous. And this act of betrayal is exactly what leads us back to those deposition rooms where our story began. So in the end, everybody kind of gets paid. The Winklevosses walk away with $65 million. Eduardo settles for a huge chunk of cash, and maybe more importantly, gets his name put back on the website as a co-founder. Facebook, of course, becomes a monster, and Mark Zuckerberg, he becomes the youngest billionaire on the planet. Everybody got rich, but they all lost something pretty fundamental along the way. At the end of it all, a junior lawyer on Mark's own legal team says this to him, and it's maybe the most insightful line in the whole film. It makes you wonder, was all that ruthlessness who he really is, or was it just an armor he had to put on to build his empire? Which brings us to the final haunting scene. All the lawyers are gone, all the fighting is over, and Mark is sitting alone. And what does the guy who created a social network for 500 million people do? He logs on, he finds Erica Albright, the girl from the bar, and he sends her a friend request. And that's where we leave him. He has it all, the fame, the fortune, the company that redefined a generation. But he's just a guy, alone in a dark room, hitting refresh and refresh, just waiting for one person to say yes. It really makes you ask, what's the point of connecting the entire world if you end up completely alone?